another tutorial. There's definitely an autumn nip in the air because today is really quite cold, but I've selected some supermarket flowers again today, and at the moment we've got these amazing gladioli in all our local supermarkets. So of course I'm here in the UK. My name is Sharon. If you haven't watched one of my videos before, then welcome. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do so and hit that notification bell if you want to be updated every time I release a new tutorial. Now I've chosen some cream coloured gladioli from the supermarket today, and I wish I'd realised when I bought them that there was this sort of salmony pink colour on the inside. Almost matches my jumper, which of course was all part of the big plan. Had I known they were going to have a colour in the centre, I probably would have selected some flowers to bring out that pink colouring in the centre. But I'm keeping my flower content quite basic today. I'm thinking that maybe if you can only get hold of a bunch of supermarket gladioli, then this might inspire you to create a beautiful design. Okay, so my container today is this very heavy ceramic, almost a French style base. It's a grey sort of creamy colour with some terracotta on the top and bottom, and I've inserted into the bottom section about 2/3 of a block of floral foam. But I didn't want the floral foam too low in the container, but I didn't want it too high either, because my design is going to be quite vertical and I haven't got a lot of material to put in at the side. So I'm keeping it quite simple and quite stylised. As well as the flowers, I've got this really pretty candle. We're coming into the autumn. I thought the candlelight would look gorgeous alongside the fresh flowers. Inserted there into the bottom are 2 German pins or 2 mossing pins, and what I've done is I've just used this pointed end. So this is a German pin. I've just inserted the pointed tip into the candle. Sometimes you need to heat the end of the German pin just so that it inserts in more freely, but for today I've just inserted that pointed end in. And what I'm going to do with the candle is I'm going to insert it straight into the floral foam. Now at the moment the candle is facing me. If I just tip that forward, hopefully you'll be able to see, and it still allows me about good 3/4 of the foam to arrange my flowers into. Now just behind that candle I'm going to create a vertical placement with some of my birch, and I'm going to go quite tall because the gladioli are quite a heavy flower. Visually a lot going on in the gladioli, so I'm going to create a nice bit of height here just at the back of the candle. Now I often get asked for suggestions for church flowers, and I think this would work quite well at the back of the altar. It would look fabulous on a table just inside the entranceway, and it would work equally as well at home for you. I'd be a bit mindful of lighting the candle because we have the dried branches behind, but you could always replace that with an artificial candle, or you could even place the candle in a different container. I'm going to go quite vertical, almost like a parallel style arrangement, and I've decided on that shape because of the natural shape of my gladioli. They're quite tall, quite slim. The ends tend to turn towards the light. So by arranging them in this parallel style, it keeps the tops nice and straight. Now I had a bunch of gladioli that had 5 stems in it. I'm not going to use these ones because they've moved with the light. They're going to distract away from those vertical lines that I want to use. So I'm just going to use 3 of the straighter gladioli, and I'm bringing them down in a line on the left hand side, so the opposite side there of my candle. So I'm just going to use the gladioli in that straight manner, that vertical line. And if you think about the parallel arrangements that I've done a couple of times, and I can link those in the cards just up here, if you go back and look at how I've arranged those parallel lines, I'm doing very much the same but with a much smaller quantity of flowers. Okay, so straight gladioli, straight pieces of birch, and we've got quite a simple and quite a stylised design. If I had something in that corally pink, I would probably bring it to this area down the bottom, but you know, I can't do anything about that today. I really love the gladioli, and if you don't have a huge amount of money to spend, you can create a really pretty design with a simple selection of flowers. Right, now at the back of the birch, it's almost see-through there. I'm going to add some greenery, and I've got some bamboo. Now, I don't think I've ever used it in a YouTube video, but it's a foliage that's quite accessible. It's classed as invasive here in the UK. It does take over quite a lot. So if you do decide to have bamboo and you want to grow bamboo, I would suggest you have it in a container of some description, and that it won't overtake your garden. But I've put it in between the two groups, so it's not fully behind the birch, it's not fully behind the gladioli where it's going to get lost, it's in the middle, so we see a little bit of that texture and colour just popping out on my right hand side. Okay, now what I'm also going to do with the bamboo is to continue that texture down towards the bottom section here. So instead of using the whole stem like this, I'm just going to cut this bottom piece off here. Now remember that the bamboo is quite stiff. You might need secateurs. I've got quite sharp scissors. But doesn't that give me a completely different shape? You know, we had that very long, tall bamboo there at the back, but by cutting it down shorter and smaller, I get a nice tuft, lots of texture, and that will give me some ground coverage and help cover my foam at the front of the design, and it will link really successfully with the bamboo there at the back, but I think that works really well. Now, to pick up on the colouring of the birch twigs, I've got some of this gorgeous burgundy foliage. This one has come from my garden. This is Physocarpus diablo, and it has a wonderful burgundy shade, so this is going to work really well to connect the colouring on the right hand side there, and it's going to work really well just sitting still in that parallel sort of form, that vertical shape there on the opposite side. So we now have a link with the colour from the other side. And if you haven't got this type of foliage in your garden, just think about something that's tall, something that's fairly thin and not too bushy and not too obtrusive. And we're going to pop that one down the side as well, just so that we get almost like columns of the various type of materials. If we look at it from the back, you can see that lovely texture and contrasting colour. And if we look at it from the side, we do have a front and a back, but the design is quite slim because I've created those parallel lines. Now, as well as those tall pieces of the Physocarpus, I do also have some shorter pieces, just ones that I cut off the bottom of that tall branch that I used on the left hand side there, and I'm going to pop these towards the front because that's really going to help bring the colour to the front of the arrangement, and it's also going to make the candle look like it's part of the design rather than something I've added in as an afterthought right at the very end. So quite simple, just some foliage and some gladioli that are seasonally available from the supermarket at the moment. And then I'm just going to add in some short pieces of the Camellia. This one, again, is a locally grown Camellia. It actually comes from my mum's garden. So mum, if you're watching, I pinched this a couple of days ago when you weren't looking. It's a lovely glossy leaf. I really like the texture and the colour of the Camellia. And what that's going to do, it's really going to help cover my floral foam again, so it's there for practical use, but it's also going to ensure that that candle doesn't look like it's been put in as an afterthought. It's going to make it look like it's an integral part of the design. So how's that? Now, I do have some pale pink roses. They're not as dark as this centre section of the gladioli, but I feel that I've got a gap here which is a bit too large. The flower colour doesn't come all the way down to my container. So what I'm going to do, and again they're cut short because I've used them in a previous arrangement here for one of the classes, I'm just going to put that sort of column effect here on that left hand side, just to help bring that colour down. And it's a beautiful link with my container. and it's going to work quite well. Just maybe 3 heads there on the left hand side, and I'm still going to arrange in that parallel style. So my stems are going down at that 90-degree angle into the foam, and my head is facing the ceiling. I'm not angling it forward in that very traditional style. A little bit shorter, I think, for that one. 3 roses here I think is going to be adequate, and I think this design is done. Another one of the quicker designs. We might even get this into the 15 minutes category, into the flower arranging in 15 minutes. I'm just running out of space now in my foam, so it's a little bit hard to get that in there. And I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. It's quite a simple selection of flowers. Both the roses and the gladioli came from my local supermarket, so it's nothing that you can't get hold of yourself. If you're in the summer, in whatever country you're in, you could use some delphinium there. You could again have some roses or some carnations. Gerbera would give you that lovely focal point at the front. It's a very similar style to the Italian mass that we've looked at a couple of times. And again, I'll just link that here so you can look back at that video. But any tall linear flowers, even a hydrangea there, single hydrangea would have worked really well. What do you think? Let me know in the comment box below. Is that something that you'd have a go at home? Let me know what flowers you would use instead of the choice that I've used, and whether it is something that you would be able to use in the church or whether you would have it at home. Would look fantastic on a reception desk somewhere. As ever, thank you very much for watching. Please let me know in the comment box below what you would like to see explained in a tutorial. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you again very soon, and bye for now.